The Samsung Galaxy A56 is in the house and it has some big improvements compared to the A55 from last year. But is it worth your money? Well, let's find out. Now, looking at the design initially, this is pretty compact for its screen size. It's under 200 grams. It's around 7.4 millimeters slim, so that's down from 8.2 millimeters last year. And then we've got this new linear camera layout. So Samsung devices across the board right now have that triple ring design, and it's been there for a few years, so this is quite refreshing to see. Now, I have seen a few people say that this camera module reminds them of the iPhone X's camera module. I guess it is a little bit like that, but it's different in Samsung's line right now. We've got IP67 water and dust resistance, which is great for this price range. And the device does feel very premium, and that's because we've got an aluminium frame. And I do like this sort of brush metal finish that we've got on here. There's Gorilla Glass Victus Plus, and this is available in 4 colors: a light gray, olive, pink, and graphite. Samsung called all of these colors awesome for some reason. But anyway, to me, these colors are pretty flat, especially this graphite here. It also does show fingerprints and dust, especially if it's in sunlight. I definitely do prefer the two-tone finishes that we've got on the A36 series. But nevertheless, overall, I do like the design, and it is very premium. Now let's take a look at the display, and we do have some big improvements compared to the A55. This is a 6.7-inch AMOLED display with a 120Hz refresh rate and a full HD plus resolution. Now, the bezels are slightly smaller compared to the A55 last year, but they are not uniform. We do have a bit of a chin. Now, I know a lot of people are not going to care, especially at this price point, but there are other devices out there that are cheaper than the A56, such as the Nothing Phone 3A. And those devices do have uniform bezels without a chin. So that's one area that I think Samsung could definitely have done better in. But one thing that I really am impressed with the A56 is the brightness. It's got 1200 nits in high brightness mode and 1900 nits with Vision Booster. Just been testing this out outside in sunlight, and it's been very good in terms of visibility. Now, there is an in-display fingerprint scanner. This is an optical fingerprint scanner, and it works okay. It's just not as good as an ultrasonic fingerprint scanner, which I'm used to. So if you just tap your finger on it quickly, it's not going to unlock. You do have to press and hold. Again, not a big deal, and this is fine at this price. Now, before we move on to the cameras, just a quick reminder, if you're enjoying this video so far and you want to see more like it, then do consider subscribing and hit that bell icon so you don't miss future coverage like this. Now, the cameras, one big improvement we've got is with the selfie camera. So although it is a lower resolution, it does have a larger sensor size with larger pixels compared to last year. This is 12 megapixels, and it actually takes really good selfies. You've got lots of detail and dynamic range. Portraits are good as well with great edge detection, and it can shoot at 4K 30 frames a second. And you can see from this example here that it did pretty well. Selfie video camera test on the Samsung Galaxy A56. This is what it looks like. Let's have a look at a bit of the dynamic range. Lots of light coming from the background, but seems to still be doing a pretty decent job. Even with the light coming from the background, it actually handled dynamic range really well. So front-facing camera, very good. Now, for the rear-facing cameras, we have a triple rear-facing camera setup, but realistically speaking, it's not triple. There's a 12 megapixel ultra-wide camera, a 50 megapixel primary camera, and a 5 megapixel macro camera. We'll come to that. Let's talk about the primary camera. The 50 megapixel primary camera is very good. You've got good detail, great dynamic range. It also performs well in low light. One area where it really impressed me was with portraits. The edge detection on this is very good. You can see in this example here that it's managed to get the parts in between my arms absolutely fine. This is something that sometimes flagship devices also struggle with. And with this, having this case on my S25 Ultra, it's a clearish case. And this is something that lots of devices can struggle with. But once again, it has done a very good job. It can also shoot at 4K 30 frames a second. And again, detail, dynamic range, pretty good for this price. We've got optical image stabilization, so it's pretty stable. And we do have super steady mode. Now this goes to 1080p and the quality is not as good, but it does give some very stable results. Now the ultra wide camera, I mean, it's not bad. It has decent dynamic range, but I definitely did notice that it is soft, especially around the edges. And when you use this in low light, then you will definitely notice that it is inferior to the primary camera. But it's not too bad, and for good light, you will get some decent ultra-wide shots with this camera. And then they've got the 5 megapixel macro camera. I don't know why they've got this here. I actually know why they've got this here. It's so that they can claim that this has 3 cameras, when in actual fact, it's really just got the 2. Now, with this macro camera, yes, you can get macro shots, but they are at 5 megapixels. They're not great. I would have personally preferred if Samsung put autofocus in the ultra-wide camera so you could get 12 megapixel macro shots like you can do with all of their flagship devices. But then they want to have some separation between this and their flagship devices. And once again, they want to claim that they have 3 cameras. Now, you don't necessarily have to use it. It's just there for the sake of it. But the cameras for this price, I would say, are pretty good with some good results, as you've seen. Now, let's talk about the performance. So this is powered by the Exynos 1580 chipset. Now, I know a lot of people get annoyed when we talk about Exynos, but this isn't too bad. It's a 4nm chipset, and compared to the A55 last year that had the Exynos 1480, you're looking at a 12% NPU improvement, a 17% GPU improvement, and an 18% CPU improvement. There's also a larger vapor chamber. It's around 15% bigger, and it's comparable to what we have on the S24 Plus. And you've got either 8 or 12 gigabytes of LPDDR5 RAM. Now, in my usage, this has been absolutely fine, and it's going to be great for your day-to-day. And you can also do some gaming on this. It does perform much better than what we've got on the A36. And if you are deciding between the A36 and the A56, and you're going to be doing some gaming on your device, then I would definitely recommend going for the A56 over the A36. Now for the software, we've got One UI 7 with Android 15. One UI is one of my favorite skins. It's clean, simple, and it has some great features. But most importantly, Samsung is promising 6 generations of OS updates with 6 years of security updates on the A56. This is up from the already pretty good 4 generations of OS updates and 5 years of security updates on the A35 and 55. And you're actually going to be getting longer software updates if you are a B2B custom. Now, this, I believe, is a key selling point for the A56, because unless you get a Pixel, this is the longest software support you're going to get on any mid-range phone out there. I think especially for business-to-business customers, having that longevity when it comes to software and security support is going to make this very appealing. Now let's talk about AI. So this does come with some AI features, not quite at the level as what we've got on the S series, but there are some useful features and others which are not so much. So the AI feature that I find most useful is Circle to Search. You can just tap on the home button or the navigation bar and then just circle anywhere, and then it's going to give you more information about what you have circled. There's also AI Select, which will let you turn what's on screen into a GIF, a wallpaper. It's also going to give you actionable items if there's an address or a phone number. We've got Read Aloud on the Samsung browser, and as the name suggests, it will allow you to read out aloud what's on the page. Unfortunately, there's nothing like AI Summary that we have on the S series. This is something that I use quite frequently just to summarize long web pages, and I would have liked to have had it on here. And on the photo and video side of things, we've got Object Eraser. This can do okay if it's a simple edit, but if you have anything more complex, it's very similar to what we've got on Cleanup with the iPhones, which means it's not very good. It's definitely not at the level that we have with Galaxy AI on the S series. We've got Auto Trim, which can extract highlights by AI. So if you've got lots of video clips of a day, for example, it's going to kind of put that together into a highlights reel. I mean, it does okay. It's not something that I personally can see myself using too much. And then we have Best Face. Now, this has given me some very interesting results. Now, this only works if you have motion photo enabled, and the way it works is by using that video clip from the motion photo and allowing you to select a frame from there. So the quality is firstly just not going to be as good as a regular photo, but it can work to salvage a photo that might not have been usable otherwise. However, sometimes it can do things like this. I mean, Honestly, I don't know what it did to the bottom part of my teeth. It's probably getting very confused because I have a beard. Once again, this is something that I cannot see myself using. Now for the speakers, we've got stereo speakers, one in the earpiece and one bottom firing. They are pretty loud and they sound very good to me. And the battery. Now this actually has a very large 5,000 milliamp hour battery, which is comparable to what we've got on the S25 Ultra. And that means you're going to get very good battery life on the A56. It's going to keep you going all day long without any issues. And this year, we also have support for super fast charging 2.0, which is Samsung's 45-watt charging. This is up from 25 watts that we had on the A55 last year. Now, in terms of numbers, that's going to give you around a 65% charge in 30 minutes, which is pretty good. However, there is no charger included out of the box. At least not here in the UK. It might be different in your region, so you're going to have to check that out. There is also no wireless charging supported on the A56. I'm somebody who uses wireless charging a lot, and lots of other devices around this price range are now starting to offer wireless charging, so that would have been nice, but we don't have it here on the A56. That brings me on to the price. So the A56 in the UK is going to be retailing for £499. And that is for the 256GB version. There is no expandable memory. And in the UK, you can't get any other storage version. However, in other regions, you will be able to get this with 128GB. Now, to answer the question, is this worth it? Well, I think the package that you're getting for £500 with that storage is pretty good for a new device, and I think this is going to be very popular for B2B customers because of that long software support. But if you look on Amazon right now, in the UK anyway, you can pick up the Samsung Galaxy S24 for around the £500 mark. Now, granted, a lot of these listings will not be directly from Amazon and they might be from third-party sellers, which you might not feel too comfortable with. But you can also get the Samsung Galaxy S24 FE for around the £550 mark, and that is from more reliable sellers. Now, when you consider that and the fact that you will be getting all of the Samsung Galaxy AI features, as well as an actual usable third camera, a telephoto camera, then this makes it a bit more tricky to justify getting this in the UK at this moment. Now, in your region, based on how much this is priced for, it actually might be a good deal for you. And it is a good smartphone overall for the price, in my opinion. That's what I think anyway. What do you guys think? Drop me a comment below. Let me know your thoughts. If you're interested in the flagship, the S25 Ultra, I've done lots of coverage with that. You can see those videos here and here. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more like it, then do consider subscribing and hit that bell icon and also smashing that like button for me. Thanks for watching. This is Saf on SuperSaf TV, and I'll see you next time.